And we're live. Here we go. Let's pay attention. Let's pay attention. Happy hour time, everybody. Cheers to our friends at the Corner Pocket. Cheers to our friends on Warchant TV. Cheers to all of you wherever you are. Happy Libations Friday.
Cheers to Tom Lang, who's at the Ryder Cup right now, chanting USA, I guess, with everybody else.
You saw Florida State got the first.
Yeah.
By the way, Azinger takes a shot right off the bat. So Berger, obviously, and Koepka win their match, right? And they're paired together. And Azinger says on the broadcast, and the Noles get their first win of the year.
Well, hey, he wasn't wrong.
Man.
Well, except
it's actually well done.
Yeah.
But that hurts.
It's not the women's soccer. He's not a big women's soccer fan. But that was cool, too. On the first tee, they were doing the war chant before they teed off.
It was loud. It was echoed throughout the whole place. It was great. So we are obviously at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. If you are in Tallahassee, maybe making your way into Tallahassee, it's a little happy hour, just a laid-back conversation, just two guys having a conversation and joining our friends here. Cold beers, a gazillion televisions, and a kickstart to the weekend that we all need.
Yes.
Beautiful weather, by the way. If you want to be on the deck, too, it's perfect. And then as for those of you watching from afar, we say hello, and we say, hey, so I don't know. I didn't see your prediction. I sent in my video prediction. I don't know if you watched it. You probably raced to watch it. It was probably the first thing you did this morning.
Well, right.
But, I mean, I understand you can play it off. But I took 31-30 Noles.
No, you didn't. Did you really?
I did, yeah.
That's the score I've predicted every week.
Is that right?
Yeah, and I did it again today, or this time.
Did you take 31-30 Noles?
Yeah, I always do. I
swear to God, I had no idea.
In perpetuity. That's what I'm doing.
So that's actually really funny. I did as well. So what if we nail this thing? Do we get something? Do we get bonus money?
Do you think they're going to put up 31 points?
Against Louisville's defense, they might.
Well, they might, but that would be nice to see, right? If they could put up 4 to 5 touchdowns, that would be
Yeah, it would be something to behold, wouldn't it?
Yeah, because Ole Miss did,
and good weather.
UCF did.
Yeah,
It'd be nice if the offense could put up some points.
Hey, so quickly though, honestly, I mean, we don't know, just while we're on the subject of football, the status just yet of the health of the offensive line, because that's really everything.
Yeah.
If in fact they get Robert Scott back, if in fact they're able to get Maurice Smith back, then they got a legitimate fighting chance to win the game. If they don't, I don't think they have much of a chance.
Yeah, that's probably true. I think, man, Robert. I don't know about Maurice Smith. Robert Scott. They tried to give it a go last Saturday, and he went through warm-ups to see if he could go, and he couldn't.
Right.
So you got to figure 7 days later, you got a much more of a fighting chance with him than you would with maybe with Maurice Smith. But yeah, it'd be nice to get both those guys back, and then Babion. God love him. I think he
actually played pretty well.
He's not bad, and he's been here since
10 years in.
I think Bowden recruited him. But he's been here for a while. But he's a nice backup to have. He's just not what
not front line.
Is your front line starter.
Not a dominant player.
But he's a good guy as a depth guy.
So
that's where you want him.
I want to get through because the folks have been kind right off the bat here on the chat, and we appreciate it. Yeah, I'm sorry we missed the JCS as well. So we're figuring out what we can do.
That was a bummer, man. I was all locked and loaded, ready to listen to you for 2 hours, and then I couldn't.
I actually think you were about to listen. Maybe not for 2 hours.
I keep forgetting you're on the channel.
Oh, that's what it is. But lots of people saying nice things, and I need to get my mouse. So that I can scroll through these things and answer questions. But a lot of people seems to think that Florida State does have a good chance tomorrow. So, hope springs eternal, Corey. 3 losses, including one to an FCS school, has not deterred the faithful.
Right.
Or perhaps it has.
Well, look,
but not on the chat. Not on the chat.
Teams play better. Teams improve. All over the country, teams
Thank
improve.
you, Eric.
All over the country, half the teams win each Saturday. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Florida State's due.
Harkening back to Coach Bowden's comments.
Half the teams win.
He also said that the home teams have an advantage because they don't have to travel.
Well, right.
It was late during the lost day.
Look, man, it's fine. He built this thing.
That's right.
But yeah, man, it's not out of the realm. It's not like we're talking about Lamar Jackson, Louisville. We're not even talking. I mean, Louisville's just, they're not anything special. It took a miracle for them to win that game. Now they played pretty well.
They had no business winning that game.
Yeah, but they put themselves in a position. Then the kid made a play, or actually the receiver didn't make a play for UCF, but they were in that game at least.
I was on the air.
Well, but they are not a good football team. You can beat them.
Yeah. Oh, certainly.
I like that you're wearing your Louisville red too.
Oh, it's my RTJ shirt, man. I'm a big Run the Jewels guy. So, Hey, so as an aside, I was on today in Louisville If you are a big fan of Louisville radio and you were listening, then you got to hear me for a good 18 minutes.
Ooh, wow.
I was doing the other guy's job.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I was a little weighty, but they, these days when you go on shows, they want to ask you, how the hell did Florida State arrive at this place of ineptitude and deep sorrow?
Right.
And
very deep sorrow.
And it takes time to vet that, Corey.
Yes.
A lot of them
minutes at least.
18 minutes. Yeah, I could have kept going.
Yes, absolutely.
Because there's a lot of blame to go around. And we're not going to relitigate that here at Happy Hour at Corner Pocket on a Friday.
This is an unhappy hour. We don't need to talk about how we got here.
Right. Yeah. No. So what ended up happening was the guy tried to blame it all on Willie Taggart. And I went, no. Don't do that. We'll get to Willie. But you got to go to Jimbo's final 2 years where the locker room became toxic, and he had already checked out in his mind, and there were some off the field issues with him that I don't want to go back and again talk about, because nobody wants that for somebody's personal life. But there were a lot of things. And then I said, so then Willie inherited a mess and didn't make it better. And now Mike's inherited a mess and so far has not made it better.
Right.
So there's a whole lot of not making things better up to this point. But the whole talking point was, well, what has to happen moving forward? And I think that's really where we should start, which is what has to happen over the next 9 games, to feel any better about the state of Florida State football. What has to happen? Don't say something like win.
No.
Give me something that you believe has to happen where you can say, okay, all right, damn it.
Yeah.
What is it?
To me, it all goes to the offense. Like, we know, look, man, the defense is what it is. Fuller, probably not long for this job, you would think, unless he turns it around. Probably
but I'm not blaming him right now, man.
I'm not either.
That offense has been bad.
The defense you knew the defense wasn't going to be good.
Yeah.
You thought these guys, they're offensive minded. It's Norvell's. He led the nation in scoring a couple of years ago. At Memphis, they always had top 5 offenses. You thought that was coming. And so far, they're one of the worst offenses in the country for the second straight year. That's what I want to see over 9 games, a plan, a semblance of a plan.
Yes, something tangible.
That you can look at and say, yep, that's what they are. That's what they're going to be next year. That's what they're going to be moving forward. They have a plan. I trust these guys to be able to put up 34 points a game. Not asking for 50, 34 points a game, 33 points a game. Let us see what we saw at Memphis. Let us see a semblance of that, and we haven't seen that at all.
Can they? I mean, is that fair? I'm asking honestly now. You and I are friends, as well 30, as coworkers. Yeah, I'm asking you, is that fair with that offensive line?
No, I'm saying not this year for them to average that, but to see real improvement and to see it. You're allowed to out-scheme teams too. It'd be cool if a defensive coordinator was like, Florida State did some stuff we weren't prepared for, instead of the opposite all the time, where the OC's I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
You'd like a defensive coordinator to be confused. You'd like to out-scheme them and out-coach them, even though you don't have a great offensive line by any stretch. Your offensive players are better than what they've put on the field the last 2 weeks. 31 points in 2 weeks is
it's
crazy.
Abysmal. I mean, I think part of it, again, it's crazy. If you win the Jacksonville State game, the tenor of these conversations are very, very different.
But you know what?
Believe they didn't. I know they didn't. They treated it like a glorified scrimmage, and it came back to bite them in the ass. And now we're dealing with this. It is curious. I mean, I really think, because actually, if you want to go back through this. So you walk out of that stadium after Notre Dame and everybody's pretty,
fired up,
pretty happy, right? Yeah. Well, let's just say you win and win ugly against Jacksonville State. All of a sudden you're 1-1 and you played really well in a game and then you got a victory. Is anybody devastated about the weight gain if it plays out? I mean, you're probably not happy. Nobody
but your record is where you thought it would be probably before the season started. There.
Yeah, and then you're thinking, okay, we got a home game, got to get this win. But because you didn't win it, then falling off a cliff. And that's fair. That's fair because you did play that game and you did lose that game. But I need to see some traction. I've talked about it all week long. That's been the word I've used the most. People are probably tired of hearing it.
Don't you think that's more with the offense though? Because the defense is better, but it's a lot because of 2 defensive ends that you did not recruit that came in.
But you still get credit for that.
No, but they won't be here next year. Correct. So what I'm saying is you look forward to next year and something to build on. A lot of these offensive guys are coming back, and that would be something to build on going into next year.
David wants to know, hey, Jeff, get Jimbo on your show. Ask him if he has guilt for the condition he left FSU in. I
hope he does. You think he does a little bit? Come on, man.
I don't know about guilt. I will say
probably
this.
Not. His mind doesn't work like that.
I will say this. He was asked about it after that disastrous campaign in Willie's first season. He was asked about it, and he said, look, I left Florida State in great shape. Now, Of course.
Really?
Yeah, he did. Yes,
That.
he did. Yes, he did.
That's a direct quote?
Yes.
Oh.
You can go look that up. He did. He said he thought he left it in great shape. He said there's good players there, etc. He tried to couch it because he was protecting. You know, he'll always protect another coach. He's not going to take a shot at another coach. So he, to some extent,
not
he was
publicly.
No, not publicly. So he was trying to protect Willie, but in essence, he said, no, I think they've got good players. They're all right. Listen, I don't know if he has regret. I do know that time heals all wounds. I do know that he would accept some responsibility for the state of the program. I also know that we have to move on as a fan base. We have to this happens all the time, invariably, and it's our constant search for answers to this hell.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's like this existential
you see what he's
crisis.
done at A&M. Yeah. And then that doesn't help matters. You see the guy that left you.
He also inherited a really good situation. At the time that he got there, he had the number one ranked dual threat quarterback in the country.
What he's doing,
and he brought in a defensive coordinator that is elite.
Well, and you could say the one counter to that is, well, Florida State would have never given him the opportunity to bring in Elko because he cost too much.
Well, I don't know about that.
I'm not saying that's true, but that's what he would say.
Yeah.
But the reason Texas A&M right now is what it is number one, the recruiting, the evaluation, player development, but then that DC is one of the best in the country.
One of the best in the country. Now, I will say this: if they lose to Arkansas tomorrow, and they very well may, I don't know. Are A&M fans like, hey, we're getting what we paid for?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe not, but they should be because it's A&M.
Well, right. You're talking about their overriding status in the world of college football.
Which is nowhere.
But if you pay somebody $75 million, it's not to finish third in the West each year.
Yeah.
So, I'm saying at some point they're going to say dividends, my man.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I thought, I wrote a story today. McElroy spoke at the Tallahassee quarterback club.
And he spoke glowingly at Florida State football because he was at the quarterback club.
He was and also I guess his mom went to Florida State, which I didn't realize, and he wanted to be recruited by Florida State, but they signed Ponder instead, which
Ponder's a better player.
That worked out for Florida State.
Yeah.
But he talked about how he's been now to the 3 straight season openers at Florida State. He's called them.
Oh,
so
right.
He called Boise. He called Georgia Tech. He called Notre Dame. He's like, I'm telling you, the results are the same. There's still losses, but this is a better team. And he goes, I don't have anything against Willie, and I don't have anything against Jimbo, but I went to those Friday practices with Willie. I went to the Friday practices with Jimbo.
At the end.
And there were guys that just weren't invested. They just didn't care. They didn't act like they cared. They didn't have any buy-in, and you could tell, and it showed up on film. He goes, I went to that practice Friday for the Notre Dame game, and it's a different team. It's a different style of practice. These guys do care, and they are bought in, to which I would say, all right, well, did you go to the practice
before the Jacksonville State game or the Wake game? Yeah,
but
it's a different practice.
So he saw some different things. It's easy to say that, but he does believe in this guy, and he believes in this program. And what he told the Florida State fans was like, look, I was on a team. We were terrible. We lost 4 straight games, including one to Louisiana Monroe. But what happened was we in the stands for those games, watching us were Julio Jones, Mark Ingram, Marcel Darius, and all those other guys you can name off that recruiting class. And he's like, what they saw was a fan base that still stuck with the program and cheered and didn't boo and were invested. And that was the main reason, one of the main reasons, although I'm sure the bags of cash helped. But that was one of the main reasons they signed they got that recruiting class. And then the next year they're playing for an SEC championship. 2 years later, they win the championship. And so his point was, stick with it. You're at Florida State. If you have the right coach, which I think you do, and you support him, and he brings in the players, which he's currently trying to do, you can turn this around. But it's not easy right now, but it will turn around.
You want to hear something interesting that echoes that sentiment that I think, listen, when you're losing games, people are like, it's lip service, whatever. But I was talking to a Clemson guy today, a guy who covers Clemson and has for a long time, and he's good at it. And he goes, like from afar, he when he hears Florida State fans complain about Mike, he's like, you probably got the right guy. Better hang in there. And I said, why do you think that? He goes, well, I watched his Memphis teams, and I also watched that first game, and I know it hasn't gone well since.
Yeah.
But he is like, I think that what's left behind is probably not a lot of talent, but a lot of guys that have bought in, and now it's going to take 3 years to get to where you want to go. And nobody wants to hear 3 years. But I will say this. You're appreciably better next year if that 2022 class all signs. Yeah. I mean, you're instantly better. Now, are you good? No. Are you appreciably better to where you can see light at the end of the tunnel.
You go
I
to
think that's true.
Can you get to Shreveport next year? That's the
race
goal.
to
It's the
Shreveport,
race
baby.
to Shreve. If you can get to Shreve, you've done some things, and the next year maybe it's Miami or Orlando. You just start building up. So it's a slow, steady. Yeah.
Never thought
That's
I'd want to go to Shreveport so bad.
Or El Paso again.
Oh, no.
We didn't take
I have
those.
no desire to go to El Paso.
But that's the thing, man. Like Alabama turned around
Shreveport.
so quickly. Like they were playing they were number one in the country in the second year. A year after losing to Louisville,
happened pretty quick. Well, Nick's kind of a good coach.
Yeah, it's not going to happen that quickly here, but it can happen.
Garrett, I want to clarify something here. Garrett writes, with so many penalties, there are a lot of them. Why did the staff wait until this week to have refs at practice? Isn't it normal to have refs at practice? Go Noles from Louisiana, or is that LA? Either way, no, they've had refs at practice. We've seen them prior to this week.
Yeah, but they haven't had them during the season. They had them in preseason.
They had them in preseason all through every practice. We were there.
But then once the season started, they
figured about then away. You got its old hat, buddy.
Well, and those guys have jobs, right, or something, or they want to do other things. Those guys. But yes, he did bring them back, which is probably smart. You could also, most of the times, you can see a penalty on your own. I don't know that you need a 60-year-old retiree to throw a flag.
And listen, I didn't try to dwell on this point on Monday after a loss in which you turned it over 6 times, and the game ends up being lopsided. But God damn it, Corey, I'm about done watching just fictitious bullshit.
Right.
I'm telling you. First of all, the roughing the punter didn't exist. That's running into, not roughing. Secondarily, there is no penalty on Jerrion Jones there. And both of those penalties led directly to points. Yeah. I'm not saying Florida State would have won. It did make a very big
an 11-point difference.
It's a huge
difference.
Now,
look, you could say...
No, because the rest of the game plays out differently.
Right. But even still, even after the horrible roughing the punter penalty, you could be like, well, you don't have to let him go down and score right after that. You're Florida State's defense. Of course that was going to happen. You know what I mean? Like, you had just gotten to stop.
By the end of the game, you're on the field for twice as many plays. You're tired, man.
But you had just gotten to stop. The odds of you getting 2 stops in a row are pretty slim against the competent offense. But still... That's 11 points that they were gifted that they shouldn't have had the opportunity to. Now, they were going to get the ball at the 4 after that roughing the punter.
Yes, but
so they probably would have punted it, and Wake Forest gets the ball first and hit it midfield.
Perhaps.
But
you know how many minutes later that is?
Yeah,
maybe
sure.
3 or 4.
You get a rest. Yeah.
I mean,
and
it was
Jerrion Jones was a third
deal.
and 15. It was a third. It was
and
a
they
3-yard completion.
Yes,
and they were going to kick a field goal. So it's 11 to 14 points they were given. And people can roll their eyes, but that's when you're not good.
When you're not good, you can't overcome that.
You can't overcome bad breaks.
But also, it's okay to just not make things up. Like that guy was not in a position to make that call. Now, listen, I don't want to get in this because we got blown out, and I don't want to make it sound like Florida State would have won the game. I don't know if they would have. Certainly, they played terribly. Quarterback play wasn't good. There were a lot of questionable calls. 4th and 2, you're running the kid with one leg. I mean, it's not a good idea. There are a lot of things there that you can harp on. But I am saying that this team is fragile. Its psyche is fragile. They don't know how to win. It's been a very long time since they figured that out. And when that happens and you get down by a bunch and you start to press, things get ugly.
Yeah.
And it just really bothered me. I could see Norvell's face. He's like, okay, we're not a good team. We don't look like we're well coached currently. So I probably can't lose my mind here. But he wanted to, because that was insane.
Obviously he'd be thrown out of the game, but would there be any other repercussions if he would have kicked that referee in the stomach?
Yeah, there'd be repercussions.
What? You're not getting arrested.
I think you would be fined and suspended for a length of time.
You'd be suspended if you kicked the
referee for a little bit. Yeah,
that's probably.
Yeah, I know. I have wondered. There have been moments though where you think, man, I don't know that I would have lost it. Yeah.
And
that's why I have people coming over to grab him.
Yeah, it's crazy, but it's crazy that rage never spills over into physical violence with a referee.
Woody Hayes is the last time.
That was a player, though.
I know it was a player, but it was physical violence.
Yeah,
I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, was that the last time?
I feel like, yeah. I mean,
I don't think I think a coach has probably figured out.
The jury's still out on that. That Clemson kid was talking a lot. Old man's not going to have that.
Little shot in the neck. Yeah. Get you some of this little looping round. Yeah, that was good. I don't know. Listen, I did think it was interesting this week that Florida State, when that line came out, everybody knows I'm a degenerate gambler.
Right.
The first thing.
What are we at right now?
It's like 1.5, 2.
Oh, okay.
So tell me, doesn't that shock you a little bit? Does it not shock you a little bit that Florida State is only a 2-point underdog after being 0-3 and having lost at home to an FCS school? That surprises me a little bit.
Yeah, it does. The guys in Vegas must think like I do. Like it's due. Nobody can lose 4 games in a row.
Well, I think what they see is Louisville was pretty fortunate to get the win that they got against UCF. Yeah. There were a lot of fortunate things that occur.
And FSU was unfortunate.
Very unfortunate. Yeah, no, but I also think they realize that, look, that's not a juggernaut rolling in here tomorrow, to your point. If Florida State is competent, now that's a big if, but if Florida State is competent in this game, I do think it's a fourth quarter game. I think they got a shot to win the game. Let's put it this way. Don't you think that this is the kind of game that no matter the result, you won't be surprised?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's every game from here on out.
No, but I'm saying, like, no, you'd be stunned if Florida State beat Clemson.
No, they got something. Maybe they've been preparing this whole last 6 weeks for Clemson.
So this game tomorrow is the weirdest kind of game to describe. If Florida State lost 41-7, you'd be like, okay. If Florida State won 35-13, you'd be like, okay. If Florida State wins 27-24,
the Wake Forest game, I wouldn't have been surprised that they got blown out, and I wouldn't have been surprised if they won narrowly.
Right.
But I didn't expect
you're right.
Florida State could,
this game,
if it goes a certain way, maybe could win by a few scores. That would be wow. That would be something.
Yeah, it's really, really strange, right? It's like it's a weird game. There are very few games ever that I watch where I go, any result won't surprise me.
Did you see what Coburn said today? That the Board of Trustees, I think it was the Board of Trustees.
That they're fully behind.
Yeah, they got the right guy. He said that they got the right guy. They are improving, and they are going to win. So he got the vote of confidence. I can't remember if Coburn did that with Willie, too. But I mean, I told Aslan, what would you think about this? Just to get all the noise out of the system. But I don't even know. I don't know if Coburn's going to be here in a couple of years. But what if Coburn said, guys, forget all the emails. Don't talk to me. Don't question me. Hey, I'm talking to you. I don't know who's texting you, but you're in the middle of a show. Is that something important?
No, it's actually not.
Okay, great. Well, thank you. That made me feel important. That's great. That's awesome. But what if he told people, look, it does not matter what you think. It doesn't even matter what the record is. He is here through the 2023 season. He is here for 4 years.
What was the official statement today? He didn't say that.
He did not. He's like, we got the right guy. We're going to win. But that's just a vote of confidence.
Yeah. That's usually the dreaded vote of confidence.
Exactly.
Right.
If it's like the team meetings.
Right. Yeah.
If he guaranteed he is not, we have to have him see through his first recruiting class. We are going to give him that because that's what Florida State deserves. It's what Norvell deserves. And I completely believe in this guy. So don't even question whether he's coming back or not. He is until 2023.
You think he needs to say that?
Well, I don't know. Yeah.
Do you think it's important for recruits? Is probably the answer, right?
Well, and
you can say behind closed doors, perhaps
for a fan base, maybe to understand. No matter how much you boo, no matter how much you decide, I'm not going to show up to voice my displeasure.
Yeah, it does
not matter because this guy is the coach. You're not going to be able to force a change, and then you might as well come up and cheer. You might as well come and cheer and hope you see a win.
I actually think. Oh, Dad. I actually think that my dad's here.
Nice.
I actually think that is true. Whether he says it or not, that is accurate.
Yeah.
They're not making a change until after perhaps 2023, and I'm not even sure about then. They've got real issues. Now, there might be changes to the staff.
Yes.
There might very well be changes to the staff.
It almost has to be. That's how you
well, we'll see how the rest of the year plays out.
You could give to the fan base.
Corey, when they go 9-3, you're still going to be calling for changes to the staff?
No, I'm going to be worried that the Jets are going to take them.
Yeah, so at that point, I would just tell you this. Let's watch the rest of the year. And I do think they have to show tangible progress in a lot of areas for coaches not to be dismissed. Now, the head coach ain't going nowhere.
Right.
But yeah, I could see it. I could absolutely see it. By the way, 904 Davis, thank you very, very much. We really appreciate you. 904 Davis writes, Noles win 34-17. Milton throws for over 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, and the running backs rush for over 150 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Gosh.
Goodness gracious, 904 Davis.
It's 2013
This is an
again.
ass beating on the horizon, and we didn't even know it. Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
What are you worried about? Wouldn't that be something for the offense to go out and put up some points and yards?
It would be nice. I know you're clamoring for it, and I'm ready to see it too. I'd also take a 7-3 win. Now, listen, hold on 1 second.
That would be.
I'd take a 7-3 win, I'm riding out. Riding out, baby.
What series of events
happens with me driving with a smile on my way to the house?
I mean, I can't even imagine a lightning storm.
Yeah, just weird. A lot of turnovers.
Yeah.
I would say this. Another really positive sign, and I brought this up earlier this week. You've certainly talked about it, I'm sure. I think you wrote a piece about it on warchant.com. It does mean something to me that the most high-profile recruits of this 2022 class that we keep talking about have come out time and again after these devastating losses and said, doesn't really matter. Doesn't matter. I'm going. Travis Hunter's like, sending out videos on the regular.
Yeah.
I'm going to Florida State.
It'd be cool if he didn't have to keep doing that.
Well, it'd be great
Guys, I know
if we
you're
didn't put them in a
wondering.
position.
I'm still committed.
Wholeheartedly agree that we don't need a weekly update on your level of commitment after each loss.
What about now, Travis?
Yeah,
what about now?
Now we're 0-7. Travis, still feeling good? No, I'm with you, but I do think it reveals that this is a staff that has been pragmatic and realistic and fair in their talking points behind closed doors to these players. They could not have promised wins.
Well,
obviously,
I hope not.
obviously, and it would also be unwise to do so.
It seemed like that's what Willie did, right? He seemed to promise a quick turnaround.
There's no seeming. He said it aloud.
Yeah.
To anybody that would listen.
So then, when they did not win, it was like, well, Willie, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm not. You clearly don't have a handle on this program.
One of the biggest.
I'm going to go somewhere else.
One of the biggest mistakes he made was overselling and underdelivering. You can never do that. You desperately want to undersell and overdeliver. And
story of my life.
I don't think that you want to go out there and tell everybody it's a quick fix. This offense is going to light it up.
Yeah.
And then you go out there and look like we did. That was not a good move. Not a good look. It began instant questions. So what I would tell you is this, that ultimately I think, and Tom Lang has just checked in,
that can't be the real Tom.
No doubt.
Money?
No doubt blitzed at the course. Yeah. So I think that, it was probably true that Norvell and his staff members have spoken very little to these recruits about results of games, which you really don't need to do. It's not a good idea to begin with. But because for me, that's the only way you could see this kind of affirmation after every game is like they didn't believe that they were going to go watch a bunch of wins.
Yeah. And you know what's what they do have in their corner when they're trying to talk to these kids about what this program could be again is so many of them were in the stands for the Notre Dame game. So not only did they see a team that competed, that you could say, look, if we just play certain situations well, our talent isn't abysmal. You're not coming to, Arizona or UTEP. We have some talent where if we play well, we can compete with a lot of teams. But also, you saw that crowd. Like this fan base.
What it can be.
This is what it can be. That's what it can be if you guys show up. You can turn this around where that's the crowd every Saturday. You have that to point to as well. Even if you finish 3-9, you can say, look, you saw what it's like when it's good. You guys are the ones that are going to turn it around, and that can work. That can play with some kids.
Let's read T. Lizzie's comments here along with donation. Hey, boys. Repurposing some Wisconsin Nole magic for you two and the other football squad tomorrow. Enjoy an Ultra and a man's beer on Brooks and Burger. Well done. Well done. Yes. Well, for those that there you go.
This is the man's beer right here, the Ultra, and he's
Cheers
drinking.
To you, Tom. I'm drinking an 850 by Proof in Tallahassee, Florida. It's a local brewery.
Yeah. Been there. I'm familiar with it. Tom Lang, for the ones that are tuning in late, is at the Ryder Cup, cheering the USA on. I assume they're still leading. Big day's Sunday though. That's when everything shakes out. And Berger and Koepka got the
first
team off to a pretty
points
good start
on the board, and the crowd there locally doing the Warchant.
Like BFFs, are they?
No.
Okay.
No. I don't
got that impression.
They're not sworn enemies either. There's a level of arrogance and confidence and machismo you have to want to be the one, if you will. And they played together at the same time, and both were immensely talented.
Right.
So I imagine there was a nice little friendly rivalry. It's a little bit like you and me.
Sure.
I love you. You love me.
Yeah.
I'm fairly certain I am by far and away the most talented member of the Warchant staff, but Corey probably feels that he is. And just because he's mistaken doesn't mean.
No, I mean, it's pretty evident because all you do is just sit here and talk into this
just
thing.
jibber jabber.
I got to do a little bit of this.
You do a little typing.
Yeah,
your witticisms all day long. We got to do. Yeah, got to do all that.
Don't sleep on that. That's what brings people to the site.
There it is.
This stuff right here.
Yeah. So get ready to type after another loss, big dog. Let's see you be funny
what
then.
What are you doing?
I'm kidding.
Okay, I was gonna say
it's all jokes, man. It's all jokes. We're good.
I think right after a win. It's been a minute.
It
that Duke game. I mean, but
it feels like eons ago. Didn't really count. They didn't want to be here.
The game was the last game I wrote. North Carolina and Notre Dame.
Have you gone back and looked at what you wrote after the North Carolina game?
No, I would never do that. Who knows? I'm like,
Did you write with conviction that this program was the best of all time?
Yeah,
and that it was on its way to.
Probably. It took 4 games for him to turn this thing around. He's a miracle worker.
This guy is the next Nick Saban.
Yeah. No, so I would hesitate to go back and look at that.
I wonder, by the way.
I don't want to read any of my Willie Taggart columns either from when he was hired.
Well, I know some of what you wrote about that. Now I got that wrong too. I didn't prattle on about greatest recruiter in the history of humankind.
If they could win, if they could win, he would be. But
he said they would run laps around people apparently in the recruiting game.
It did not work out.
Didn't work out. I do think that it's going to take some time to win the fans back over. A win on Saturday doesn't do it, but it's a nice starting point. I had a guy in the chat this week say, "Oh, a win on Saturday doesn't matter." Bitch, are you crazy? A win on Saturday matters immensely.
Yes.
I mean, they got to start winning games. I mean, tangible results would be nice.
Yeah. I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah, that's an insane thing to say. Oh, it doesn't matter. Well, why are we playing?
Yeah, what's the point of even going out there? Yeah, of course they matter. You haven't run out of complete confidence in this guy, but if you can't find a way to get it done on Saturday, I mean, that does matter, and it's not like Satterfield's been there for a decade.
Well, and he's not doing great there. They don't love him, by the way. They don't love him up there.
There's really no excuse to not put it together and play well on some Saturdays. Not all of them, because you're not very good. That's where inconsistency comes from. But it'd be good to get here at some point and not always be down here.
If they, you have to see tangible evidence of improvement. I mean, they may not win. I have talked about the personnel issues for some time now. They really aren't a very good football team. I'm not real sure that Mackenzie Milton or Jordan Travis at this juncture, the way that they physically are right now, I'm not real sure that they can play.
Not at the level
where you could win consistently.
You would want to win ACC games.
Now, I also am not saying that you got to go turn to Chubba Purdy right now, but you do have to get him ready.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, but because you can't, I feel like we're to the point now, and I've been the biggest Jordan Travis supporter there's been besides Devin. I'm a big fan of Jordan, but we're to the point now where you can't count on him to play games. You just can't. No. He's going to get hurt. It's not his fault.
It's a shame. His body betrays him.
Some bodies are like that, including his brothers.
Yeah.
Was like that. That's why he's not still in the major leagues.
He was a good player. He was a very good player.
He could not stay healthy. And I think Jordan just has that in him where when he gets a hit, you see all these other teams, man. You see, Lamar Jackson's running around. I'm not trying to compare Jordan Travis to Lamar Jackson, but he's running around taking hits in NFL games.
He pops back up. He's ready to play, yeah.
And every time Jordan Travis gets tackled, he's slowed down. And he's always banged up or hurt. And it's just you can't go into 2022 again thinking that Jordan Travis is the answer because you just can't count on him. It does not mean he's not a hard worker. It doesn't mean he can't be good if he was healthy. He just can't stay healthy.
And there's nuance to these discussions. It's not all or nothing. So a guy writes here, Tampa Bay guy writes, and by the way, I'm a Tampa St. Pete guy too, so that's good. But he writes
little Dale Mabry
action for that ass. Yeah, it's about recruiting. Winning a game really is really meaningless. It's all about who they bring in over the next year. This year is lost. Oh, this year is lost in terms of like meaningful production and going to some elite bowl. But I would argue, Tampa guy, that
if they did win out, they would go to the Orange Bowl.
Well, I would also note that if they don't win a game, that's going to impact who you bring in next year.
Correct.
So winning games does have an impact on your ability to bring in those players. So, no, I do think it matters that you try to find some wins where you can. This is not a team good enough to rattle off a bunch of wins, but they are good enough to win 5 games.
And some flash, right? To make some flash, have some flash Saturdays where you can show your recruits tangible improvement and say, look, there's some stuff here. We can't put it together. I mean, players understand. All these guys, even 17 or 18-year-olds understand that.
That offensive line is a train wreck. So they have
you explain that to them. And you say, look, we've got some real deficiencies. But if you watch us, you see the improvement. You see that we're in games. We're competing. We won this game. We almost won that game. We won this game. Like, if you can get there and show them proof of your college career is not going to be wasted at Florida State. That's all they want to know. Because, Travis Hunter
is a special guy.
But he could go anywhere in the country.
Clemson, Alabama, Ohio State, anywhere he wants.
It's not going to affect his NFL status one iota. He could go to Lipscomb.
Yeah,
it wouldn't.
That'd be a hell of a choice.
It would be an amazing choice.
Yeah,
Imagine
Lipscomb.
Oh my!
Out of nowhere, they get a commitment from Travis Hunter.
State? Are you kidding? Mercer?
That'd be unfortunate for Florida State.
It'd be like Moss and Marshall.
Although that's not where he committed
Right. Yes. That cost Florida State a national
Notre
championship.
Dame, Florida State, then Marshall.
Yeah.
A few choices before he got to Marshall.
It's still up in the air if he'd have been able to beat out Andre Cooper.
Yeah. Can't tell. Don't know. We'll never know. Why do that?
We'll never know. Yep.
Why have that debate?
So Travis Hunter's NFL future is guaranteed no matter where he goes. He's that good. So are some of these other guys.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're a high school player, you don't want to go to a program, even if you have much love for it, and go 4-8 every year. So if you can show these guys we are on the uptick, you will win games here. You do have a chance to compete for a championship. Trust me. And here's some proof. Not a lot.
But here's a little bit. Here's a modicum.
Then maybe you might have a chance there. But you do have to. You can't go 0-12 and expect to sign a top 10 recruiting class.
David wants to know what type of quarterback fits Norvell's offense, meaning pocket passer or scrambler. Actually, if you go back to Memphis, he's had both.
Yeah. Well, at Arizona State too.
Yeah. So I actually think it's irrelevant. You just want a good quarterback.
Yes.
Whatever he is, you just want a good quarterback. I one of the things I like about Norvell is that he has in his past, the evidence is there, adjusted to whatever talent he had. And so, he's been able to do that in the past.
It'd be cool if that happened here.
Well, one of the criticisms so far up to this point is sort of this scatter shot approach to offense. Now, what we're going to find out here in the next 2 to 3 games is, does Kenny Dillingham get his card punched? Does he get told?
Does he get punched?
Well, that may have already happened. But I would
maybe
suggest,
Milton.
Maybe Milton, 4th and 2. Let's have Milton run it.
For him at the bottom of the elevator.
My only argument to that is, and I have wondered about this, he's on the headset. The second the call comes down from Kenny Dillingham, we're going to have the crippled kid run for 2. You probably don't want to go that route, And listen, that's a shame. I mean, I'm rooting for the kid, but that's just not a good call. We're gonna, to me, I would have gone elsewhere.
It's the same thing with the play at the end of the Jacksonville State game. Yeah, it's on Fuller it's on Fuller too for calling that sort of defense, but the head coach is the guy that.
Yeah, man. No, that's not what we're doing. Yeah. We're not doing that at all.
And Steven Dix, fall down, act like you're hurt. We got to come together.
Something has to happen, but not this.
You've got to fall down. We've got to get together, get our minds together, and get on the same page because this is crazy. That's on Norvell. Like it's his team. Like I only blame Dillingham and Fuller on situational stuff like that to a point because the head coach is in charge of everything. Just like at some point, maybe tell Papuchis, quit telling your guys to get near the punter unless they're going to take it off his foot. Pull up and quit even give him an excuse to fall down.
Yeah, they're looking for a spark there, and they got really unlucky, by the way. Again, that is not roughing the punter, but
that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, it didn't really matter. I would tell you, though, that I am interested tomorrow afternoon's game. I'm really interested to see because they are hamstrung. They don't have a lot that you can fall back to. We keep talking about wanting to find an identity. Most identities are hard to form if you can't block.
Right.
So I do wonder what you choose in that situation. Like, all right, best case scenario, we'll have success with this, even though none of it is going to work swimmingly because we can't block. Now, to me and to you and to many of the fans and the people in the chat, they're going to tell you, you got 2, maybe 3 good players on offense. 2 of them are running backs, Trayshawn Ward, Jayshawn Corbin. The other one might be Malik McLean if he ever gets a chance.
The Sean Gone backfield.
I like it.
Okay, good.
You can go with that one. So
it's taken off. It's taken off around the country.
Huge.
You're starting to see posters.
Well, everybody's talking about the Sean Gone backfield after these first 3 games. So what I would tell you is that, maybe build something around that. I know you can't do much. It's not like they're going to have overwhelming success with that group up front, but who else are you going to build it around?
No, exactly.
So, you have a non-existent tight end room.
Trayshawn Ward is a redshirt freshman.
Yeah, he's a good player.
But did you know he was a freshman still? And feel like he's been here
a little while.
5 years.
A little while, yeah. Well, with the COVID stuff, we're going to be talking about players like, Jesus, this guy's been here for 10 years.
Yeah, it's crazy.
My dad's in attendance today, and he'll remember this. Do you remember Carlos Huerta, the punter from Miami?
Yeah.
The kicker from Miami?
Yeah. He's breaking hearts for a decade and a half.
Every time they would go, kicking for Miami, Carlos Huerta. I'd be like, Jesus Christ, this guy's 37 years old. Right, he's balding with a pot belly. He's got a divorce under his belt. He's got payments to kids everywhere. What are we doing, Carlos, out here kicking for Miami still? Yeah, that's what we're all going to be doing with certain kids or all around the country, including here at Florida State with Trayshawn. If he stayed the whole time, if Jordan Travis stays the whole time.
Yeah, Jordan Travis will be 27 years old if he he'd be winky for real. I don't know how old Jordan Travis is, but he's got to be 22 or 23, and he's still just a sophomore.
Eric, I love your line of thinking. I'm not even kidding about this stuff for years. You know who's not here right now, Eric? Ira. Corey and Jeff will talk about paying players. We'll talk about cheating. We'll talk about doing things necessary to win some games. So Eric writes, how much would it cost us to hire someone currently on the Bama nutrition, quote unquote, staff?
Yeah,
someone who currently has access to the Saban recipes. Eric, it's a good point. I mean, it's a point I've been pounding the table talking about for
either care or you don't.
Try to win games? You try to win some games or not? Yeah.
We're not, you're not trying to,
endangered children,
cover up crimes or endangered children.
Well, maybe. I mean,
but like, you've got to start maybe allocating resources in a different avenue. Like, you're paying Adam Fuller $800,000. Again, I'm not even all joking that much. Couldn't you pay Travis Hunter's family $400,000 of that $800,000?
You're going to make Travis Hunter very rich before he ever gets here.
Wouldn't that be better for Florida State football than Adam Fuller getting $800,000? Wouldn't that mean more?
I bet Adam Fuller would agree with you right about now. He's like, you're going to give me Travis Hunter?
Yeah.
And then I can make that $400,000 for the next 4 years instead of getting cut right now?
Yeah, Adam will keep you, but you're cutting your salary in half, and it's going to the players. You've got it. And look, the thing is, legitimately, the NIL makes it where it's not all shady. Well, it's all shady, but it's not illegal. You can set up endorsements for these players and have them ready to go where they have you can give them hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's on the table right now. The NCAA won't say a peep. So if you're a booster, a big money booster especially, come on.
Oh, you got the money. You got the money. We're dropping bags up in here these days.
Instead of paying a huge buyout to fire Norvell, go get some players and give them some endorsement deals where they come to Florida State.
So Avery writes something here that I agree with, but also I think we can kind of pick apart, not critically, but just talk about. He says, Dillingham's biggest downfall for me was when he said they didn't do anything that we had prepared for.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. But are you saying you are unable to make any adjustments? Okay, that's not what he said. I'm going to stop there. You can read the rest of it. He basically admitted they made adjustments because they did call for what are known as man beaters.
Yeah, he wasn't expecting it from Sunday to Friday. They didn't prepare maybe for that defense that Wake Forest ran, but they have plays in place to combat what Wake was doing.
Right, and also he'll never be able to say that again because here's the news flash.
That's a wrap on that.
That's a wrap on that, Dilly. Let's leave it alone.
Doing it.
Here's what I'm going to tell you. This is the look you're going to get from every single team, maybe not named UMass, that you play. And the reason is they don't respect your receivers. And they know that you can't block them up front. So they can play man-free all day long.
Yes.
They can walk up on your receivers, punch them in the face, and say, do something about it.
Well, here's the thing,
and they can't. So you can't go into games watching film the week before saying, well, they like to run a lot of cover 3. They like to run a lot of cover 4. They play soft coverage. Not against us, they won't.
You're right.
Because they don't respect your receivers. So don't go into games anymore thinking that's what you're going to see. Expect to see press man.
Right. Well, it's a lot like the Florida State basketball defense. So they play defense unlike anybody else. They extend 94 feet. They try to they don't want teams to run plays against them. So when like NC State or Boston College are preparing for Florida State, they know they can't run their sets. They just can't run their sets.
Yeah, remember. So do you remember how funny it was? I'm sorry to interrupt, but it makes me laugh. You're making a good point. Do you remember how hard we laughed when Roy Williams was like, they were talking about reverse the ball back around. Who was the center that was asking for in the post?
It was like Baycott.
Yeah. And remember, he was like, well, God damn it, we can't run.
We can't do that, man. We can't get the ball to the other side.
He was so mad. He's like, stop doing that.
He would seal on the other side. Like, just swing it.
Yeah. Swing it. Well, we can't just swing it. Yeah.
Are you not watching?
Yeah.
So Florida State, what they do is they give up a lot of penetration to guards. But what they want to do is make you do something you've never done before.
Right.
And all these college basketball teams run the same sets over and over and over. That's all they practice. Florida State does not let you do that ever. You have to improvise on the fly to try to get points. Well, that's what Dillingham has to go into this knowing whatever I see on film is almost doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. They're not running that when we see them.
They're not running the defense that they usually run. They're running the defense against us where they don't think our receivers can make plays. And I'll say, you talk about pressing up on the receivers and saying, go beat us. I was at that Wake game and I saw the way they covered. They weren't even playing up. They weren't playing press.
But they did have a robber and they did decide you're not going to throw in the middle of the field.
Sure.
And also if you start taking advantage of that, the outside, we're going to come up and tackle.
Yeah, because your receivers don't make people miss.
They never you can play off 5 to 7 yards.
It's not just getting open. It's when you are open, like the Jacksonville State game. Milton completed like 11 passes on the sidelines to dudes that had one-on-one with a DB.
And they never made
anybody miss. Never broke a tackle.
Yeah.
That's what you'd like to see. I don't know how you teach that. I don't know if that's God-given. I mean, Jeff Bowden's guys did it all the time in the 90s. They broke a ton of tackles.
And Lord knows he was not a good coach.
He was a great receivers coach. Or did it have something to do with the guys he was coaching and having some God-given ability? So I don't know the answer to that, but I do know those receivers don't make a lot of plays either downfield or even to make a couple guys miss and get a first down on a short pass.
Yeah, and it's difficult because, again, you go in each week deciding, commit to something, decide you're going to do something, but every something that we're talking about requires a modicum of blocking. So when you can't just say, well, do this, do that. And I'm guilty of it because I've said, well, you got to do this or you got to do that. Admittedly, if you can't block, you can't do any of the things we're saying. Now, you also can't not play the game.
Right.
So it is incumbent upon very handsomely paid individuals to figure some sort of scheme out in desperate situations. That said, it's also true that there have been very good coaches who have inherited nightmares in the NFL and college football, and they've proven to you that it is about the Jimmies and Joes and not the X's and O's, because you could be a schematic genius.
Did you just come up with that?
No.
Oh,
you could be a schematic genius. But if you call plays for Ira, Jeff, and Corey, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
We're in trouble. It's just not going to work out.
I'd be the center probably because I'm the smallest. I feel like I get snapped the ball.
I'm lining you up in the slot, and I'm having you just turn and burn.
I thought you were talking about the offensive line. The three of us on the offensive line.
I'm just letting you know. I mean, obviously, you can try to think, we'll do this, we'll do that. Well, that guy just whipped my right tackle's ass.
Right.
What am I doing now?
Yeah.
I mean, because he's standing there right where I'm supposed to be going.
Yeah, well, which is an issue.
That's a big issue.
But you also have to coach to what you have. And they don't seem to do that great right now. Hopefully they'll get better at it. And a perfect example is the first play that Milton came in when Travis got hurt, or Travis was made to come out of the game.
Yeah.
And he threw that terrible interception.
It was awful interception.
I don't even know what he was looking at. But he had to get rid of the ball because he didn't want to take a hit. And I think it was the left end had beaten the guy. He was about to take a hit. So he just threw it instead of trying to scramble around or duck down for a 2-yard loss. You have two quarterbacks right now in the condition they're in.
Both beat up.
They're beat up. They do not want to take hits. And
they're made to take a lot of them.
And because of this offensive line, they have to take some, and that's asking a lot. And they haven't really come up with a game plan to keep the quarterback upright, but also, there are going to be plays. I can't get over Jordan Travis getting hit on a Hail Mary. I just from in front. That's such a useless hit to take, pointless hit to take that you saw coming. It's really bothersome to me because that's when he really got hurt was that hit. And it's like, man, you see him, he's right in front of you.
Well, and tip of the cap,
Milton's very good about getting rid of the ball quickly.
Well, yes.
But part of that is because it's self-preservation. He knows he can't take a ton of hits.
Yeah.
So sometimes he's going to throw into triple coverage because who else is he going to throw to?
Well, or throw it into the ground, and
that helps. Throw it over their head.
I would argue this too. One of the things I admire about Jordan Travis, and it is true, he gets hurt all the time, and he really isn't reliable. Part of being a quarterback is that you have to be available, you have to be dependable, you have to be able to be counted upon series in and series out. Is availability. Yes. I do appreciate that mentally he is tough as nails.
Yeah.
Because he's willing to take shots. The problem is he can't take shots. So you want to say, and it's a weird thing to say to a football player. I mean, these are tough dudes. You want to say to this guy, hey, man, I appreciate that. Don't do that anymore. Because you can't. Your body is not going to allow you to take the punishment. Right. And I know that you're tough enough mentally to hang in there. But you don't have to prove anything to me. Stop taking hits.
Yeah.
Get rid of the goddamn ball and let's live to fight another down.
It was really that was probably maybe my most frustrating play to watch of the whole game. You're still in it. It's 27-14.
If you go down and go 27-21, I mean you have a legitimate shot to win the game.
Right, even that first drive of the second half.
No, and his arms hanging down always.
But it's like, so there's some things that Milton does that are just innate. There was the throw he made. I think I brought it up on Wake Up Warchant. He's rolling to his right. he points to the middle of the field as if he's trying to get somebody to go open.
Yeah.
There's nobody even there that he's pointing to.
No.
He's just trying to confuse the safety.
To go.
And then he does a no look pass on the sideline to McLean for like 8 or 9 yards.
Right.
It's a nice play. It's a uncoachable play. It's just to have a feel for the position.
Yeah.
And then there's Jordan Travis, who I think has a better arm, is faster, has more physical probably ability right now than this version of McKenzie Milton. But he doesn't know, like in the Notre Dame game, the first play of the game is a 6-yard loss to Corbin on a screen pass.
Well, he was late on it, by the way.
He's late on it, but also you see the guy that's right behind Corbin.
Yes.
So why not just throw it at his feet? It's blown up. You throw a pass to his chest so he can catch it and get tackled for a 6-yard loss.
I thought that's where
you go to the Hail Mary play, though. Like there's a feel to the quarterback position. You can't, on a Hail Mary, you can't have the ball for 7 seconds like he did and get hit like that.
Oh, he got crushed.
Again, it wasn't a blindside.
No.
It was the one guy in front of him in the whole field, and he took too long and then gets crushed and doesn't even get the ball to the end zone.
So nobody's going to mistake McKenzie Milton or Jordan Travis for Tom Brady.
Okay, you're saying that's a big statement to make.
Listen, that's the kind of insight you get here. But I am going to say this.
You could have come through. It's fine. Oh, thank you.
Corey's over here pounding them, folks.
That's right.
Those ultras are flowing fast these days,
11,
baby. Here we go.
Number 11.
What I would tell you about that and why I said that is that when Brady first got to Tampa Bay, on our way to winning the World Championship,
I remember.
I one of the things that I noticed right off the bat.
It can't feel great.
Oh, it does.
I mean, it can't feel like the first one.
No, the first one was better because Brad was quarterback.
Well, but also it's like you didn't just feel like,
you're saying we didn't earn this one?
I mean,
we did draft Godwin. We did draft Evans.
Yeah.
We did draft a lot of the talent. Who drafted Vita Vea? That'd be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Think about but they wouldn't have won the Super Bowl with the guy they drafted at quarterback. And my point is, when does somebody like Tom Brady,
is it illegal?
When does somebody like Tom Brady
ever
become available in free agency?
Well,
that will never happen.
You know who could have picked him up? The Falcons could have.
They got Matty Ice.
Oh,
they don't need Tom Brady.
I got all my friends who root for different teams saying, it really is kind of bullshit that you got Tom Brady. Oh, by the way, he was a free agent. Anybody could have got him.
I don't think Brady got him.
Tampa did. You know why they did? Why did Brady come to Tampa?
There was a good foundation there.
Well, how's that?
The fact that there's a good foundation and that dude becomes available is a 1 in a million scenario.
And guess who took advantage of that once in a million lifetime opportunity?
The same guy that drafted Aguayo in the second round.
Yep.
He has a championship ring.
But he also drafted Tristan Wirfs. Things are working out, baby. Now, here's the deal. Listen, your jealousy isn't necessary on this 5 o'clock happy hour show.
I'm sorry.
It's okay, man. It's all right. Just deal with it.
For life right here.
Especially after you just got that ass kicking last week.
Now, look, here's the deal. I was pretty impressed. We were in the game in the fourth quarter.
You were in the game because of the dumbassery before the half by our head coach.
Whatever.
Yeah. Anyhow, so that said, this makes me laugh. One of the things, Tom Brady does, and it's an underrated thing. And I guess until I saw him play every week, I didn't watch him play every week in New England. I knew he was good. That's all I needed to know. They won a lot of games. But when you watch every week, one of the things that you pick up on is a lot more about the pre-snap, this play is screwed. So he's really good, obviously, at realizing this play is dead in the water.
Yeah.
So either, they're in a better defense than we are play call. So at that moment, you realize, I don't have the numbers. He throws the ball away inside of a second.
Yeah.
It's 2nd and 10. There's no effing around. There's no, I'm going to run around like an asshole and try to make something happen.
We've lost this play.
We've lost this play. It's okay to lose this play.
Yeah.
I'm going to chuck it away. All right. You almost see him metaphorically tipping the cap to the defensive coordinator. Like, good call. You got us.
Yeah.
All right. I'll throw that away. 2nd and 10. Let's see if you can do it again. And then, it's like you live to find another day. You just want to see some smart football. You just want to see our guys who aren't Tom Brady, just so you know.
Right.
You just want to see our guys realize, okay,
Drew Henson at this point.
You want to see our guys go, okay, we got a numbers issue here. There's some protection problems. All right, so this one's going into the feet.
Yes.
And it's 2nd and 10. You just want to see that. Like, just come on, guys. We're not world beaters right now. Live to fight. A punt's not a bad thing. Flip field position, hang in there.
Yeah, and that's why, the Milton, the interception at the end, like, no, you should not be throwing a deep post to Keyshawn Helton in the double coverage. But
no,
they're
not
down,
a good idea.
down about 21 points in
not
the
a good idea.
half.
Also, can we stop running fly routes to Keyshawn Helton? Can we stop running jump balls to Keyshawn Helton?
I think Keyshawn could do some things
5'6"
in other scenarios, but you're not really utilizing them well at this point. But so that one I didn't have a problem with. That first interception, especially coming in cold, it's like, man, that's just why you're too experienced to make that throw. You're too experienced to make that throw.
Desperation,
it's not like
man.
he threw into, but it shouldn't have been a desperate situation.
No, I agree with you. That's part of my point.
Down. Yeah,
it was second down.
And so again, it's game 4 coming up. They only played 3 games, and Milton has gotten, I don't know, half the snaps, I guess, total over the first 3 games. Mm-hmm. So if we think he's going to play a good portion of the game tomorrow, maybe you start to see the rhythm come back in the middle part of the game.
That's fair.
That play he made. There just aren't many quarterbacks in the country.
The throw against Notre Dame?
No.
Oh,
I'm talking about just the pointing off a safety for no reason, just to throw a 10-yard pass to the edge. That he has some stuff to him that isn't normal, isn't natural. But then he throws 2 horrible picks, one really bad in the first half.
So we'd be remiss before we signed off here at the end of the happy hour if we didn't get in some WNBA action.
Okay.
So
they're in the playoffs right now, right?
No, it's important. Let's break it down. Can you name the teams in the WNBA playoffs?
No, the Lynx, the Dream.
You just saying names of teams randomly.
I haven't been the Sparks.
Can anybody? And I'm not doing this to
You know what's weird about that?
The WNBA.
Yeah, don't do that. We're not going to go down that road.
No, I'm not doing that. I was curious because and this is a compliment to you. Most of the time, I've discovered, even irrelevant sports, who's doing what where. Right. Most of the time. Because you and Brady watch a lot of stuff. And I think this is a good thing. But I was kind of curious because I saw a highlight up on the screen back there. I didn't bring it up out of nowhere.
Okay.
It was about the WNBA playoffs, and I thought, I wonder if Corey will get this right because I actually thought there was a chance she would.
Do you know the answer?
No. Okay. I can't name a single team.
Mystics or the
I don't even know. And I'm not, again, this isn't trying to be ironical or, this is not me taking shots. Everybody knows I don't watch it. I don't know how many teams there are in the league, and I don't know how many teams make the playoffs, and I don't know which teams are there.
I always thought their playoffs were in the summer, and that would make more sense.
Well, this is the end of it, right?
But we're in football season now. That's a weird time to have your most important
games. Did they change the season?
They might have. Maybe COVID did that. Yeah. I will say this, though. The best and I've covered, I've been doing this for 25 years
The point guns is nobody does. Of course not. That's why I did it.
But I would say the best high school athlete I've ever covered, ever. And I've covered a lot of them back in the day in Gwinnett County.
This guy's a prolific high school player.
Was Maya Moore. Unbelievable.
Beast.
Unbelievable.
And she turned into an incredible human being.
She was always that person.
But I'm saying, we know what she's done post.
Yes,
it's unbelievable.
I just had a dream about her.
What the hell is going on here? Hey, man, we better sign off quick.
I think I had a dream where I was like, hey, you remember me from 20 years ago?
Hey, I once talked to you for 2 seconds about the 22-point game you had against.
I did. I just reminded me of a dream I had. But, yeah, I got to cover Maya Moore when she was she was awesome as a freshman. And she was an incredible athlete, and a great human being.
Still is.
A great ambassador for our country. Just a wonderful human being.
No, agreed. And I wasn't setting this up.
I had no idea.
I was curious. I thought you might.
No.
Did you watch a second of Carolina Texans last night?
Yeah. So Stephanie has McCaffrey on her fantasy team. And he's hurt. So she's got to figure out something.
Because that's what happens to that guy.
Yeah.
Also uber talented, but
how about that,
injured.
So NFL football coaches in general are so bad at time management. Did you see
every week?
Did you see what the Texans guy did in the game last week? Not the one last night, although he made some questionable decisions there. He punted twice from the other side of the 50, which is incredible when you have that guy at quarterback. Like, how many times are you going to get on the other side of the 50? You need to go for it. So they had the ball at their own 37-yard line. Texans did against the Browns. It's 3rd and 15. They throw
tough
a pass.
Down in the NFL, guys.
3rd and 15. They get 14 yards on a screen pass.
Oh, okay.
So they got 4th and 1 at midfield-ish.
40.
The Browns were also offsides. So
he took the penalty.
And made it 3rd. The penalty and then punted.
Whoa, what the fuck? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm trying to
no,
get
he declined. So he
yes, I would. I'll take another beer. Yeah.
It would have been 3rd and 11 around the 40. He declined that. Took the penalty to get
the 14 and then punted. Coffin corner?
No, punted in the end zone. Punted in the end zone. Like, I can't imagine. I would only charge.
Do you guys remember the coffin corner?
Yeah.
Was Ray Guy the last to perfect the coffin corner, man?
Yeah. But like how you spend all this money on these football operations, you pay all this money to these coaches, and they have no fucking clue how to handle
it's getting contagious.
Game management.
I have worn
clock management.
No, they don't.
It's crazy.
I know.
And Aaron, we were texting about Arians.
Oh, I was laughing about it because he does it every year.
It's infuriating.
They win in spite of that dumbassery.
It's infuriating. It's not that hard to hire somebody just fresh out of flipping Yale.
Okay, so
I don't know why I'm saying flipping now, and I just went the other way.
No, but here's what I would tell you. You felt guilty. Your conscience.
I did. No. Sorry, Gene. Sorry, guys.
Here's what I do think. I don't, and I've said this before. I get it that doddering old man Bruce Arians is very scared and worried about the clock and has a hard time. So let's call a timeout from the 2 with a minute to go. I mean, the whole thing is ridiculous. But how is it that you don't have even an intern? Just an intern that really desperately wants to work with and for the Bucks or any pro team, right? As an entryway into a job afterwards, right? And you say
$50,000 and not miss it. It would be
your
like
job,
quarters under a couch cushion.
Right. Your only job, and we're going to interview to make sure you understand the math.
Yeah.
Okay. Your only job is to pay close attention, down distance clock.
Yeah.
Score situation, down distance. And when our head coach does some asinine thing or is tempted to, quickly get on the mic and go, no. That's not what we do here. That's not what we do here.
I want to call a timeout. No, Bruce. No.
You don't need to call
20 seconds.
Let 20 seconds go off. You then call your timeout. It's unreal. How does that not happen?
So Tom Lang texted me about the end of the first half against Wake when Norvell was calling those timeouts before their last touchdown.
Yeah.
I think maybe they kicked a field goal. I can't remember what Wake did. I didn't mind that. I like Norvell. calling the timeouts there. I thought that was smart clock management.
Right.
And they did have a chance to throw the ball in the end zone for maybe a tip touchdown. There was no reason to let Wake run the ball clock all the way down to kick a field goal on the last play of the half. You gave yourself a chance to go score. It just turned out your starting quarterback took a huge hit, and now who knows when he'll play again.
Gator Kirk comes through. Sun, Aces, Lynx, Storm, Mercury, Sky are in the WNBA playoffs.
Okay, well, I got the Lynx.
You just threw it out there.
I knew the Lynx have had a solid year.
Todd says, wow, guys, stay on the air. Well, that's because it's getting a little loose. People want to see just how loose it can get. There is
shots coming.
There's a novel here that I could read, which I wouldn't mind reading, but it makes it tough here. Can't cover the Noles without an F-bomb. That is true. And that is times 20. Seems like the stage is too big for the last 2 head coach hires. It's a little early to tell with this one.
But I can understand that belief.
Tizzle wants to know where Simone is with the whiskey. Sinone's got good taste in whiskey, and we're not afraid to mention other people on this show. He does a good job. I don't know.
He doesn't come into places like this.
Sinone?
His delicate sensibilities.
He'd be shaky. He'd be scared. But he does have good taste in whiskey. Sam Darnold isn't average. He has had a bad coach. Yeah, okay, that's shark bite. So, you know what I like about the chat? Just people debating with each other, very sensibly.
I don't even know if they're talking to us. They might just be talking to each other, which is what chats usually are.
So here's what's going to happen, guys. It's 6:05.
This has been an hour of content.
This puppy has run along. I've enjoyed it. I think Corey has too.
Your dad's here. That's cool. I'll get to say hey.
Go give him a big hug.
Give him a big old hug. See, he kisses me on the head again.
Big old hug. Well, you're wearing a hat. I don't know if it's going to have it. Yeah, tell him about your situation. But listen, guys, this is every Friday. I do want to mention this. Like and subscribe, Warchant TV. This is the kind of piercing insight you get every Friday from Corey and myself at
on the
Corner
before
Pocket.
home game.
Before home game.
We'll do it next weekend, too, before the big Syracuse game.
Yeah, we'll break it down.
I mean, look, man.
That's the most overused, ridiculous thing of all time. That's why, obviously, you guys get it.
We didn't. If we'd have been able, you and I could take a time machine and talk to ourselves in 2014, there's no way we would believe.
No, but I will tell you.
There's no way we would believe it would be this.
I will tell you, by the end of 2015, I was getting concerned because you could see the signs of it breaking apart a little bit.
But you thought
the writing was on the wall a little bit.
Remember, you're like, he can't go 10-3 forever. Remember, 3 losses ain't going to cut it around here because that's the standard that had been. And you thought that was going to be the floor. The floor would be like 4 losses.
I was getting a little worried. I think
like,
you were too.
Holy moly!
Oh yeah, no, I would take 10-3 all day long. We all would
for eternity.
But there were. I don't know about that. There were moments where you began to think, this is kind of coming a little unraveled.
Yeah.
Well. And we were also saying, is there a quarterback on this roster?
So I'll leave you guys with this. So I went back and looked it up. Not that it took that much research. In fact, I don't even think I did research. I just remembered. So after Jameis, the recruits.
You want to break this down, do you?
That Jimbo has brought in, and I'm going to count Smag as in this group, even though he came in with Jameis.
He's currently coaching with him.
But yeah, that's right. So is Rashad Green, I think.
Oh, everybody.
Yeah, Trickett might be over there. Who knows?
Yeah, Leonard is there. Leonard is there, by the way. Did you know that?
Who?
Remember Leonard who won the spring MVP when he moved to defensive end from offensive line?
Rick Leonard?
Yeah.
He's over there.
He's on staff.
Yeah.
I got you. Baby.
Limbs.
Yeah, I can break down that coaching
These
tree.
are the recruits that Jimbo brought in after having 3 straight first-round quarterbacks, 4 if you count Jamarcus Russell, and a Heisman winner. We'll go with Smag. J.J. Costantino.
Sean McGuire needs our help. Guys, remember that?
J.J. Costantino, DeAndre Francois, DeAndre Johnson, Malik Henry, James Blackman, Bailey Hawkman, John Franklin. I mean, when you wonder like what the biggest downfall has been.
Remember Son of a Woman when Al Pacino's character is at the dinner table and the asshole brother-in-law is killing him, ripping him about who juggles hand grenades, and he kept going hoo-ah, and he started losing.
Yeah.
That was me just now as you went through.
Up against the wall.
Yeah. You're about it's the Ranger chokehold.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's he crushed his windpipe, right?
Yeah. A little bit of pressure.
But I mean, you think about that in like a good quarterback, a great quarterback can make an average team good, can make a bad team average. And the vice versa works too. A bad quarterback can make an average team awful.
Oh yeah.
And it's been nothing but horrific to mediocre quarterback play for 7 years now. Except for the Francois in 16. But since then,
and he turned out to be a terrible leader in a toxic locker room.
Correct.
And just ended up being a nightmare.
And then the DeAndre Johnson thing happened. Malik Henry was.
I have a question for you. I've wondered this.
The program.
I know we got to sign off, but I've wondered this. So here it is, okay?
It's not going to be another WNBA question.
No, not at all. We should stay on the air until FSU gets their first win, a marathon for
Remember
that
those
ass.
things back when we were kids, like somebody would go climb a tree?
Oh, yeah. Set up
somebody got a
some
winner,
FM DJ from Q105 back in the day would be up there. Yeah. So I would say this, and I've wondered this. Now, I know it didn't work out for him long term, and I'm not there's no forgiving anybody for punching a woman in the face. But DeAndre Johnson, if you recall, that little moment in that snippet when we saw him throw the ball in the spring game, he looked good. He looked like he could play.
Like so did Malik Henry.
Well, I don't know about Malik. I never thought Malik looked good.
I did.
I thought Malik looked like he was drug addled.
But then DeAndre Johnson got his other chances, and it didn't pan out.
I know, but I'm saying he also got other chances in weird places that weren't exactly. I just always have wondered for both the kid, and again, he did what he did. But I've always wondered about for him and for Jimbo, would things have been different if the right DeAndre had gotten.
Yeah.
And that sounds terrible. I don't mean it to. I'm not saying that it was okay what happened. I get what FSU had to do. I've just always wondered in that moment, like, oh, man, what would have happened? He looked like he had a feel for things quickly.
Maybe he
was
the
never
guy,
know.
But it's like,
we'll never know.
I ran off a list of 8 guys. Only one of them had one solid season. You can also throw Trickett in there a little bit. Like Trickett at least played a little bit at West. No, I'm talking about Cliff Trickett. Played some at West Virginia, but those were the quarterback recruits around Jameis. And it just doesn't make sense when you have that run of success at that position to then strike out and miss on like all of them. Like, I mean, I guess you could say Francois, if he doesn't get hurt, turns into a pretty good college quarterback. But other than that, none of them turned out to be jack squat. And that's, you wonder, one of the biggest reasons that Florida State became what it is now is horrible quarterback play. It's many reasons, but that's one of them.
All right.
We're time to go. You're getting text.
Yeah, I'm getting told. I missed it. It's too late now. All right. we're going to sign off. There's no good way to do it other than to say have a great weekend, everybody. Thanks for watching us. We've had a great time. We thank everybody out here at the Corner Pocket. And go Noles. Hang tough.
Did you get some bad news on the text just now?
No, it just hit me. We've gone long, and I feel kind of bad. I don't want people to think that I'm defending what happened with that situation. I just, the
DeAndre. Yeah, you're not, man. You were saying if it hadn't happened.
If it hadn't happened, what could have been?
Yeah, but it did happen, we were stuck with James Blackman and Bailey Hawkman.
This is what happens when it carries on a little bit, and we've had a few pops. You never really know. Things can get a little silly.
Yeah.
Matthew did a great job, and we appreciate all you guys. Go Noles. We'll talk to you again next home game. That's next week, right?
Next week against the Cuse.
Yep. Be good, everybody. Bye.